The Calgary Board of Education agrees to pay abuse victims of 2 former teachers.
The abuse has and continues to take an enormous toll emotionally.
More than $15 million to be split among former students who were targeted in junior high. Plus, the city goes looking for more police funding from the province.
This is a shortfall that the province should not impose on us.
The challenge of improving public safety without the revenue from photo radar. And Christmas comes early when you can shop with a cop.
I'm just grateful that I got picked from my school, my teachers who picked me.
More than 24 teens chosen for their achievements hit the mall.
CTV Calgary, local breaking news with Tara Nelson.
Hello and thank you for joining us. We begin with a developing story tonight. A multi-million-dollar settlement has been reached between the Calgary Board of Education and the physical and sexual assault victims of 2 teachers at John Ware School. Jacqueline Wilson is at CBE headquarters tonight. And Jackie, you have details on this class action lawsuit.
Yes, Tara, I sure do. So the settlement, which is, I should say, still subject to court approval, means that the Calgary Board of Education plus its insurers will pay out the victims of physical, psychological, and sexual abuse over $15.7 million. Now, the CBE did decline an interview with CTV today, but in a statement, the board says it is sorry for the harm experienced by the class members and the impact of that harm on them. Now, the lawyers for the class action say 40 people are part of the lawsuit. The 2 former teachers are Michael Gregory and Fred Archer. They worked at John Ware Junior High School between 1988 and 2004. Gregory died by suicide 5 days after criminal charges were laid against him in 2021. As for Archer, the 80-year-old High River resident was charged with 2 counts of each of sexual assault, sexual interference, and invitation to sexual touching with a child under 16. He was also convicted of abusing boys at a school that he worked at previously, but this settlement is not related to that case.
Michael Gregory and Fred Archer certainly knew each other, and there is information developed during the course of our involvement in this case that suggested they were certainly working together in relation to certain people in certain time frames.
Now, there is no time limit to report a sexual assault. So Crime Stoppers police are asking if you do think you have been a victim of sexual assault to please reach out to them. Tara?
Okay, Jackie Wilson reporting. Jackie, thank you. There are new developments in the case of a Hamilton man arrested because of a W5 expose into a global network of men who secretly drug and then videotape their intimate partners. He now faces charges in Calgary. W5's Avery Haynes has the details.
Brian Hayward, handcuffed and taken away by police in Hamilton, Ontario last May,
busted,
is now under investigation in another province. Calgary Police Staff Sergeant Tom Hansen revealing exclusively to W5 that new charges have just been laid.
Brian James Hayward, 37 years, was charged with sexual assault and choking with intent in relation to an incident that occurred in January of 2015 in Calgary, Alberta.
Crimes allegedly committed a decade ago when Hayward and his ex-wife Chelsea Davies lived in Calgary. Chelsea first went public with her story in W5 Sleeping with the Enemy.
I woke up to him strangling me. He wouldn't stop. He had my arms pinned down with his knees. He did not stop until I pretended to pass out.
After Hayward's arrest in Hamilton, where he now faces 60 charges involving more than a dozen alleged victims, Davies contacted Calgary police with fears there could be other victims in Alberta.
I want it to be public that we did live there for an entire year. A couple of those months we had separated and I was not there, so that time is completely unaccounted for.
Davies says they lived in Calgary from April 2014 to May of 2015.
There is a possibility that there may be other victims, but there's nothing actually to indicate anything other than our concerns that there may be some out there.
Meanwhile, in Hamilton, still no charges in connection with the alleged drugging of Hayward's 11-year-old daughter following a visit with him in 2023. Hayward remains behind bars and has not yet entered a plea in the charges piling up against him. Avery Haynes, CTV News, Hamilton.
Anticipation is building ahead of what could be a big day for Alberta's energy sector. A new report shows it's been an especially tough 2025 for the oil patch, but one big project in particular could change its fortunes. Tim Brooke has more on what could be coming down the pipe.
Lagging oil prices and less drilling activity will lead Canada's energy sector into more headwinds in 2026. That's according to NSERVA's State of the Industry report. The good news, there's still time to change the forecast.
So we're cautiously optimistic. It's not all doom and gloom, but cautiously is a key word here.
There is optimism. A visit from the PM Thursday could pave the way for another pipeline to the West Coast.
With respect to tomorrow's intended announcement with Alberta, the Memorandum of Understanding, it's about building this economy. It's about making Canada more independent. And it's about making Canada more sustainable.
Industry leaders will be watching the announcement closely.
What we want to see is that there's real intent behind the MOU to actually move something forward. And it's not just based on a nicety, but it's actually going to be facts.
As global demand reaches record levels, oil capacity is not the industry's most pressing need. Still, Canadian producers are confident they can increase production. They'll need some political help.
We have sufficient pipeline capacity to deliver all of the planned production growth that is expected in the basin. But I think the key thing to remember here is that we could be producing so much more.
Perhaps nothing was more impactful to the industry this year than a new U.S. president. But as tariffs cast unpredictability on oil supply and demand, there is still American interest in what Alberta has to offer.
The fact that we may be open for business again, that we can restart a lot of that foreign investment back in Canada.
An announcement Thursday won't heal all that currently ails the energy sector, but those here believe a strong regulatory signal from Ottawa could begin a new energy race.
The starter gun has just gone off, and it's a marathon, and so we're really far away from the finish line yet.
And Tim joins us now. Tim, was there any word today on a company who might actually want to build this new potential pipeline?
Yes, the big question, Tara, or the next big question, really, because the next tall task for Alberta's premier will be finding one or more private proponents to jump on board. Now, the thinking right now is a lot of those private companies are just holding off a little bit. They don't want to commit to anything until they find out what sort of regulations could be on a potential pipeline. And there is some talk in the industry today that a number are also hoping Ottawa will swoop in with a constitutional mechanism that will ensure that any potential pipeline is not just a potential pipeline, that it actually gets built and is not just tied up endlessly in the courts. So a lot of details still to come out, Tara, but we're hoping to learn some, if not most of them, tomorrow.
Okay, Tim Brooke reporting. Tim, thank you. Now, in Ottawa, tomorrow's pipeline announcement in Calgary may be creating turmoil in the Liberal caucus. Abigail Beeman has the latest.
What's your message to BC MPs concerned about the pipeline?
No comment from the Prime Minister this morning on potential caucus discord over a pipeline to the BC coast and an agreement with Alberta expected to be announced Thursday.
We enjoy a very open and engaged dialogue.
Very good conversation.
And few words from the Energy Minister, who started his day briefing those BC MPs on what's to come.
Were you reassured by Mr. Hodgson this morning?
Details on both the meeting and what's in tomorrow's announcement scant.
It's premature, irresponsible for anybody to talk about, what people think and who's saying what until there is something that's on paper.
With some MPs, including the caucus chair, insisting everything is fine.
I support the Prime Minister, and Prime Minister has a vision, and something really good will come out of this tomorrow.
Everybody's happy, honestly.
But the former Environment Minister wouldn't answer when asked multiple times if he was mulling over quitting. And many BC MPs wouldn't stop to talk. This pair, including Vancouver's former mayor, walked by silently 3 times.
You've got BC bought in, you've got First Nations leadership bought in, and First Nations communities bought in is the minimum expectation.
The Memorandum of Understanding that we're negotiating with Alberta creates necessary conditions, but not sufficient conditions.
That was an oxymoron statement if I ever heard one. I don't understand what it meant.
It's just, I don't think regular Canadians will understand what that means.
In addition to any potential pipeline opposition that may or may not be bubbling inside caucus, it very much exists from coastal BC First Nations and BC's Premier, who said it's unacceptable his province hasn't been involved in the talks. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
Calgary's lengthy budget conversation has turned to public safety at City Hall. Police are in line to receive tens of millions of dollars more next year, but some say it's not enough. The city will also look to the province for revenue lost from photo radar. Jordan Canagan has more.
21 more Calgary police officers will be coming in 2026, but some say the expected increase still isn't enough.
In the next 4-year cycle, we will have to increase our budget for the police substantially because they've been drastically underfunded under the last council.
More funding is likely in 2026. If Calgary's budget passes as is, the police service would see its operating budget jump to $613 million. That would be a net adjustment of $59 million more than this year.
Over the last 9 years, we have grown by 18 police officers per year, and if it wasn't for the additional support from the GOA, that number increased. I think it's to 22 or to 23. A very, very low number for the amount of people that have grown in this city.
Some of the increased funding will go towards fleet maintenance, roof repairs at police stations, and money for a new indoor gun range, but a big portion will cover a $28 million funding shortfall caused by the province removing most photo radar locations.
This is a shortfall that the province should not impose on us. So yes, I would like to see that reversed.
The mayor says he will ask the government of Alberta to cover the shortfall. The province isn't ruling it out. Transportation Minister Devin Dreeshen says he's always been open to constructive conversations with municipal leaders, including Mayor Farkas, about ways we can work together to enhance road safety and ensure fairness for taxpayers. Any discussions around fine revenue must stay focused on safety outcomes, not on replacing lost revenue.
It has to be fine revenue that's specifically earmarked for improving traffic safety outcomes through capital improvements, through better education, through engineering and enforcement. It can't just be a cash cow that's deployed in areas unfairly.
And Jordan joins us from City Hall tonight. Jordan, Council also getting some clarity on funding for housing.
Tara, it's a bit of clarity after a memo was sent last week from city administration to councillors saying that $129 million of federal funding had been paused towards the city. Now, that is money that comes from the Housing Accelerator Fund. Now, city officials are saying that the memo contained information that was preliminary in nature and that that funding hasn't been paused. Instead, it could be held pending a review of blanket rezoning. Now, that blanket rezoning decision and debate will be happening here in council chambers next month. In the meantime, budget discussions will continue this week. Tara?
Okay, Jordan, thank you. After one of the deadliest years on Calgary roads, the final Police Commission meeting of 2025 is zeroed in on traffic safety. A new plan lays out how police hope to reverse the trends, promising more enforcement and a stronger focus on prevention. Mark Villani has more.
Police tape lines the intersection of Centre Street and 8th Avenue as officers search for the driver of a white sedan.
The vehicle hit the pedestrian and then continued southbound on Centre Street towards downtown core.
Struck in a marked crosswalk Tuesday night, a Calgary woman suffered serious injuries, the latest in a string of pedestrian crashes.
There has to be consequences for bad driving behavior, and unfortunately, some of our pedestrians own some of that behavior as well.
2025 is the deadliest year on Calgary roads in more than a decade. Fatal collisions have more than doubled since 2017, and pedestrian deaths are rising. It's why police are already reviewing next year's traffic safety plan, calling for more targeted enforcement and closer work with the city on road design and high-risk intersections.
We look at infrastructure, we look at roads, we look at areas, do we need to add lights? Do we need to take lights away? Do we need to have more pedestrian crosswalks?
The plan also reviews photo radar locations, intersection safety cameras, and continues an enhanced check stop presence, part of a balance between enforcement and education.
A lot of these accidents are occurring because drivers are distracted. They're on their phone, they're doing something else. So it's really making sure that the education is out there to them.
But impacted families say education isn't enough.
How many more people have to get hit at that intersection before something is done?
18-year-old Alejandra Graham and 10-year-old Camilla Graham were hit last week at this Dalhousie intersection, both suffering life-altering injuries. Relatives are calling for the city to install traffic lights.
Their speed limit will cost a child their life. It would be devastating for another family to go through what my family is facing now.
But entering the final months of 2025, police hope to put a stop to that devastation.
Everybody has a responsibility for traffic safety.
Mark Villani, CTV News, Calgary.
Buried inside yesterday's Omnibus Bill 12 legislation were key changes to the Alberta Income for Severely Handicapped program. The changes involve moving all 79,000 AISH recipients to a new program called the Alberta Disability Assistance Program, or ADAP. The province says it will help disabled people find work. Critics say it will simply reduce their benefits. Kevin Green reports.
Shyla Brandt receives $1,901 a month in AISH benefits, but like all 79,000 AISH recipients, she'll be transitioned to ADAP. It will have lower benefits. She'll be able to apply to get back on AISH, but there's no guarantee she'll be accepted, and if her benefits get cut, she'll have to give up her apartment.
I'm screwed. I'd be on the street. My food's already gone, my cable, my internet's already gone. Yeah, my transportation's already gone. They wouldn't leave really much of anything.
Right now, about 16% of AISH recipients work. Minister of Assisted Living Jason Nixon thinks that should change.
AISH was not built to support those who are able to earn a paycheck. AISH, like disability programs across the country, penalizes people for getting a job.
Economists who've studied the changes say many people will see benefits drop after being deemed able to work because they'll be unable to find any work.
A large part of this issue is going to be, are there jobs available that have the correct assists or accommodations for people?
I would love to be working. I would love to be working, yeah.
AISH recipient Larissa Armstrong has tried to find a job, but says in a market where healthy 23-year-olds are having trouble finding work, a middle-aged AISH recipient has little chance.
They're saying we've listened to AISH recipients, we've listened to these people. They want more work, they want more supports for work. Yes, we want all that, but not at the price of cutting our benefits.
Nixon says Alberta pays the highest benefits in Canada to its disabled citizens, and the new rules won't change that.
Making Alberta a leader in disability supports, inclusion, and employment.
Bill 12 does not set down criteria determining who the government thinks is able to work, but it does take away a disabled person's ability to appeal a decision once it's made. Kevin Green, CTV News, Calgary.
Let's get our first look at the forecast. Danielle joins us now. Some cooler days ahead.
Yes, cooler, and we have snow in the forecast once again, and it will be enough to have to dig out. Now, in Calgary, it won't be quite as much as the last round, but enough that you will notice. And then further to the south, certainly some higher amounts expected. -5 is the current temperature at the airport. With the wind chill, it feels more like -7. Looking at the next 24 hours, the key thing, look at that wind chill overnight, -20. In the morning when off to work and school, it will feel more like -19. And by 7 p.m., we get into the chance of some snowfall. We'll talk more about that snowfall coming up, Tara.
Thank you, Danielle. A new report is drilling down on Canadians who died while waiting for medical treatment. We can't even tell you how many it was in Alberta because the province didn't share any data. And kicking off the Christmas season with a jingle, the Salvation Army's Christmas Kettle campaign is now underway. We'll tell you how much the organization is hoping to raise to help Calgarians in need. A trail runner was injured in an encounter with a grizzly bear in Yoho National Park. Parks Canada says it happened Tuesday on the Tally-Ho Trail near the Natural Bridge Day Use area. The bear charged the runner, who later drove to hospital in Golden for treatment of minor injuries. Officials say it appears the incident was a defensive response by a surprised grizzly. The trail and day use area are closed while the investigation continues. An alarming new report finds tens of thousands of Canadians died while on medical wait lists waitlist this year, but that number is likely even higher. Alicia Fieldberg reports on the push for transparency and healthcare reform to potentially save lives.
Rosalind Fritz wants to return to family travels and her job, but her life has been on hold for more than 5 years as she waits for a kidney donor.
I do 9 hours of dialysis every day.
Now she's on 2 more wait lists. Last month, she found out she needs diagnostic testing, then heart surgery before she can get a kidney.
Will it be too late? Like, by that time, will I be too unwell to have a kidney and then have to stay on dialysis for the rest of my life?
A new report shows the number of people who died while on medical wait lists rose 3% across Canada year over year.
I think what we can see from the data is that alarm bells are going off.
According to public policy think tank secondstreet.org, nearly 24,000 patients died while waiting for surgeries or diagnostic procedures between April 2024 and March 2025. But that number is likely higher because some health groups only provide partial data, and Alberta didn't provide any at all.
As the government announces massive changes to public health care, to diagnostics, to surgeries, claiming it's going to address wait times, if they're not willing to share the data with us, how can we know good decisions are being made? How can we know they're evidence-based?
Secondstreet.org wants governments to track and report the data, then make healthcare reforms similar to the systems in Japan, France, and Sweden.
Their public systems are doing a much better job. They measure their wait times in days and weeks. We measure ours in months and years.
Fritz and her family are anxious she gets the care she needs quickly, either by reaching the end of those wait lists or by someone coming forward to be her living kidney donor.
I really hope that we're able to see the end. I hope that is an actual possibility.
Alicia Fieldberg, CTV News, Calgary.
This is CTV News, Calgary.
Let's bring Danielle back in now as we look ahead to our 5-day forecast.
Yes, and it's cold for the rest of this week, but we will see an improvement in temperature, and we will be above the freezing mark by next week. So you have to hold on and get through. By the time it gets warmer, our body gets accustomed to the colder weather anyway. But we are looking at wind chill being a factor for the rest of this week. At this point, it's not as big a deal because the winds are pretty calm. But in Calgary, the base temperature is -5. It feels closer to -7 with that wind chill. Claresholm feels more like -7 as well, and Medicine Hat feels more like -13. The winds are calm enough in Lethbridge that it really just feels like the actual base temperature of -5. Before we get into the snowfall talk, what we do have right now is a fog advisory that is in place, and this is really from Hanna over to Oyen down to almost Brooks. This is really just east of Brooks, but in Brooks you'll get the fog as well. Everywhere in southern Alberta will have fog patches, but it should be most dense in these areas, basically east of Brooks and up through Hanna and Oyen. All right. When we look at what's happening out there, that's the system on the way. And it's going to push in from the south. So areas to the far south are going to see more significant snowfall than what we're looking at getting in Calgary, for example. The further north you go, the less snow we're going to get from this. But it should be fairly significant in Calgary, just not as big of a snowfall as the last one we had. All right. Timeline on this, by 1 in the afternoon tomorrow, that's when it'll start to move into Pincher Creek, Crowsnest Pass. By about 5, it starts to push into the Lethbridge area. And then by about 7 p.m., that's when it should start to make its way into Calgary. It may start off light, but it will intensify, especially in the overnight hours and in through early Friday morning. And that's when you look, it will encompass all of the south pretty much. This will be out Friday afternoon for Calgary, and then it'll take some time to work its way out of the far southeast corner on Friday. When we look at amounts and what we can expect, again, to the south, we're going to see more. 20 centimeters expected up to. In Pincher Creek, again, this model does overestimate a little bit, but this is certainly possible. 24 centimeters in Milk River and around that 20 mark, Pincher Creek over to Lethbridge, so this corridor. 7 centimeters, anywhere from 5 to 7 to the north. So High River up through Calgary, Medicine Hat, same type of idea. You're looking at 5 to 7 centimeters from this. -6 will be our high for tomorrow, and again, that snow starting at about 7 p.m. carrying into Friday morning. By Friday, a high of -10 and still -8 by Saturday. That's your Action Furnace 5-day forecast.
Thank you, Danielle. The Salvation Army kicked off its annual Kettle campaign today. The Hope in the City fundraising luncheon was held at the TELUS Convention Center. I had the pleasure of emceeing the event. The guest speaker was Robert Hayes, President and CEO of Calgary Sports and Entertainment Corporation.
We're really pleased to be associated with the Salvation Army. It's a great organization. We think Calgary Sports and Entertainment is as well, and it's community at the end of the day. That's what we're focused on today.
All that money is invested in the lives of people through feeding programs, sending kids to camp, providing meals, 15,000 meals a month the Salvation Army serves here in downtown Calgary. We provide 1,000 hamper food baskets every month.
You'll see the Salvation Army kettles throughout the city, including at the Saddle Dome. The fundraising goal this year is $800,000. By the way, Hayes told the crowd the new arena will be ready in spring 2027. Still to come on CTV News is a chance to build a positive relationship with a police officer. But the annual Shop with a Cop event is also a celebration of students who work hard, how they're spending their gift cards this season. And later, Alberta Theatre Projects is staging the biggest holiday production in the company's history. Stay with us. We're going to Oz. It's an annual holiday tradition that dates back nearly 2 decades. A group of Calgary students got to shop with a cop at Marlborough Mall. The event helped shape a positive relationship between police and young people. Tyson Fedor reports.
It's a quick debrief for these 27 local students, but they soon pair up with a police officer and weave through Marlborough Mall on a shopping spree.
I think I'm pretty lucky, considering I feel unlucky most of the time.
These students are being rewarded for academic excellence, community service and volunteer initiatives, along with sporting accomplishments.
We see all walks of life, all things, sometimes even things that are negative, but it is nice to, kind of come out into an environment like this and see those smiles.
Grade 9 student Rachel Ashella is hopeful she can buy her family some gifts for Christmas and even pick up a record from Sunset Records.
I'm just grateful that I got picked from my school, my teachers who picked me, and that I'm happy that this is an opportunity for us.
Each student is given a $200 gift card.
Like $100 left. This store is pretty expensive. So don't spend in here unless you got gift cards.
Shop with a Cop gives Calgary's youth a chance to bond and connect with an officer.
Also good to have that interaction when it's outside our normal duties, because we do a lot more than just policing. It is a very much community-based policing that we do.
Calgary Police say it's not just students that benefit from building these relationships, but officers too.
I think a lot of police officers, we can be guarded, with our job, and this allows us to be relaxed and not and be more personable.
Tyson Fedor, CTV News, Calgary.
Just ahead, a pop classic like you've probably never heard it before. Still to come in our trending videos, a very creative rendition. The Wizard of Oz first hit movie theaters in 1939 and has become a classic. The more recent Wicked movies are exposing a new generation to the story. And now Alberta Theatre Projects is hosting its stage adaptation of the original movie. And this production is the biggest in the company's history. Here's Kevin Fleming.
They're the 4 characters that everyone knows from The Wizard of Oz. Hannah Adamson just turned 18 and is playing Dorothy. She did as much research as she could on her character.
I definitely did. I watched The Wizard of Oz, the Wicked movies, so I did as much as I could to absorb, because I mean there's so much to this role and it's so iconic, so I wanted to do it justice for sure.
On the other hand, Jason Lemon, who plays the Tin Man, didn't want to be influenced by the 1939 performance.
I actually didn't watch the movie ahead of time because I didn't want to try to recreate what they were doing, because it's such an iconic movie. You can't do the exact same thing, and I just wanted to bring my own version to it. So for preparing, I mainly did kind of like a lot of work in the mirror, actually just trying to get all the movements right, to try to bring that kind of mechanical aspect to it.
Tracy Power has choreographed the show twice in the past, but is directing it for the first time and says it's a massive cast.
There is 24 people on stage, and it's just so exciting. It fills the space and the audience. Like last night, there was so much joy in the house, and bringing those big numbers like Munchkinland and the Jitterbug, which is not as well known to people, and Merry Old Land of Oz, like to have that many bodies on stage and that much joy and fun is so exciting.
The Scarecrow is played by Ryan Mishke, who says the original movie was one of the first musicals he ever saw and was captivated.
Judy Garland's voice specifically, like, I was like, look at this little kid just like singing her. Like, I grew up on a small farm in Olds, Alberta too, so I really connected with Dorothy quite a bit growing up, and her, like, wow, what is beyond this, like, sort of song when she sings over the rainbow really stuck with me growing up.
The cast says the stage performance is coming out at the perfect time to complement what's playing now in theaters. Kevin Fleming, CTV News, Calgary.
That show runs until January 4th. The holiday staple is returning to Calgary this week, sure to make any Scrooge get into the spirit of the season. Theatre Calgary is lifting the curtain on its 38th production of A Christmas Carol. The classic tale by Charles Dickens is adapted by Calgary's Jeffrey Simon Brown. A Christmas Carol runs at Max Bell Theatre from November 28th to December 31st, and tickets are still available. That's always a fun thing to do.
38th, wow.
Can you believe it? I know. Well, we're going to kick things off with a very talented one-man band. Well, he had the help of a piano-playing skateboarder there, but this is Finn Draper. He's a very multi-talented musician, playing I Want You Back by the Jackson 5 on the piano, on the drums, on the glasses of water. He's got it all going there. He sounds great.
He does.
And look how happy he looks. I love that part about it.
How long will that take today?
He's so creative. I don't know. If you have a brain that works like that, maybe no time at all. I don't know.
Maybe.
Well, now to someone who seems to only have a one-track mind.
Release your inhibitions, feel the rain on your skin. No one else can feel it for.
That's not what she was looking for. She read that gesture wrong. This woman's boss wanted her to hand over the folder. Instead, she thought, oh, you want to make a little heart with your hand. Yeah. I don't think you're actually allowed to hit someone in the workplace.
No,
but this Gen Z gave her millennial manager what she wanted eventually.
Just ask for the folder next time, right?
That's right. She thought they were going to have a little moment there. Nope. Well, finally, Gen Xers can probably relate to this guy.
I'm starting to hit the age where if somebody asks me how I slept and I go, not great, and they go, oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Why? I can tell them it's because I ate a chocolate chip cookie way too late. And they know exactly what I'm talking about.
So sad. A lot of people can probably relate. Oh, getting older. It's just the aches, the pains, the sweets that throw you off.
Oh, don't I know.
Probably cheese, probably a glass of wine. All those things before bed, and suddenly you're not sleeping well.
Used to be okay, I can tell you that, but yeah.
When you're 20, nothing disrupts your sleep.
Now I just want a cookie.
Well, still to come, the steel and lumber industries are getting some help. Coming up, the latest measures by the Liberal government to help industries hit hard by tariffs.
Here's your Skywatch weather cam, and the winds are calm right now. The clouds have started to roll in. They will continue to roll in further for tomorrow ahead of this system that's on the way. Now, for Calgary specifically, we're looking at less snowfall this next system than what we got on the last round. But for areas to the south of Calgary, you're looking at more snowfall than what you got the last round in some cases. All right, currently we are sitting at -5. Today's high was -2. This is not including wind chill. With the wind chill, Calgary feels more like -7. Medicine Hat feels more like -13. And the winds are calm enough in Lethbridge that it just feels like the base temperature of -5. Fog advisory in place. Hannah over to Oyen, down to almost Medicine Hat. Already some dense fog really starting to build in. Now, all communities are likely to see fog patches in southern Alberta tonight and through tomorrow morning, but it will be most dense in these areas and visibility will be greatly reduced. Here's the next system on the way. I want to talk about snowfall totals just to remind you and timing. So by tomorrow afternoon, just after the noon hour, it should start to push into Pincher Creek, and closer to 4 p.m. push into Lethbridge, and by 7 p.m. start to push into Calgary. Ahead of this, you may see some isolated flurries, but you're looking at the more consistent snowfall later in the day through the overnight hours and in through parts of Friday as well. So areas further to the south. That's where you're looking at the heaviest amounts, 24 centimeters in Milk River, 20 Pincher Creek over to Lethbridge, and Calgary anywhere from 5 to 7 centimeters of snow certainly possible. Your 24-hour forecast is brought to you by Action Furnace. Fix right or it's free. And wind chill will be a key thing for tomorrow morning. It will feel closer to almost minus 20 when off to work and school. Keep that in mind. And by tomorrow afternoon, by about 4 p.m., that's when you may see a few flurries, and by 7 it should be more consistent snowfall. 5 centimeters expected tomorrow night. Tara?
Thank you, Danielle. The victims of sexual assault by 2 former CBE teachers will receive just shy of $16 million in a class action lawsuit. Michael Gregory and Fred Archer worked at John Ware Junior High between 1998 and 2004, accused of sexually and physically assaulting numerous students. Prime Minister Mark Carney will be in Calgary tomorrow with details of a memorandum of understanding with the Alberta government on a pipeline project, despite political pushback from BC. And the city is looking to the province for money lost from reduced photo radar. Next year's police operating budget is set to increase to $613 million. Prime Minister Carney has announced a slate of new measures to help protect the steel and lumber industries as the trade war with the U.S. drags on.
This government will do whatever it takes to protect our sectors and not just protect them, but to help them reposition for the new global economy.
Among the new measures is further limiting foreign steel imports from countries without a free trade agreement with Canada from 50 to 20% of 2024 levels. It's also investing $500 million in loan guarantees for the country's softwood lumber sector. Freight rates for transporting Canadian steel and lumber interprovincially will be slashed by 50%, making it cheaper to transport across the country. Apple is about to become the world's largest smartphone maker. It hasn't held that title for more than a decade. Here's BNN Bloomberg's Marilla Fernandez.
Apple's new iPhone 17 is propelling the company to regain that title and beat Samsung for the first time since 2011. The 17 is being snapped up by consumers in the U.S. and China, 2 key markets. Apple will ship around 243 million iPhones this year. Samsung, about 235 million. This is coming from Counterpoint Research. It means Apple will end up with just over 19% of the smartphone market. Samsung, just over 18.5%. Here are the closing numbers for the day. The Canadian dollar is up to 71.23. West Texas Intermediate crude is up to 58.65. Western Canadian Select is down to 45.34. And the TSX gained another 279 points today for another record close, moving over 31,000 for the first time. Those are your business headlines. I'm Marilla Fernandez.
A blind Calgary athlete refuses to let obstacles get in her way. Still to come, Glenn has the story of this competitive water skier with ambitious goals. Last night we showed you the rehearsal. Today the Olympic torch was lit for real at the historic birthplace of the Games in ancient Olympia. A Greek rower from the Paris Games and Italian cross-country skiing legend Stefania Belmondo were the first to run with the torch. 10,000 runners will take part in a relay across Italy before the February Games. Usually the flame is created with mirrors from sun rays, but because of cloudy, rainy weather, the flame was made earlier this week and then transferred to the torch today. The Calgary Flames are out east as they continue their 5-game road trip now. Glenn, that trip started on a winning note.
Tara, the Flames beat the Vancouver Canucks 5-2 on Sunday, but now the trip gets that much harder. They're in Tampa to play the Lightning tonight. Opening minute, Flames, great chance to open up the scoring. Matt Coronado in front to Jonathan Huberdeau, but he can't beat Andrei Vasilevsky. And how many times have you seen this before? Lightning come right back the other way. Brandon Hagel is going to beat Dustin Wolf. Game's first goal, 1-0 for the Bolts, and they're back for more just seconds after that. Puck back to Charles-Edouard, the 2 at the point. He winds up and fires it past Wolf. Not a good start for the Flames in this game, and the nightmarish start, well, it would just continue in the first. Zegmas Girgensons throws it at the net off Kevin Ball's stick past Wolf. 3 goals on 5 shots. That's it for Wolf. He was replaced by Devin Cooley, but Cooley, well, he wasn't much better. He gives up a softie to Declan Carlisle. Makes it a 4-0 game. This looked like men versus boys. The Flames really struggling now. The good news, the Flames, they didn't allow a goal since, but the bad news, it's still 4-0 for the Lightning. Third period is just about to get underway. Well, our next story is all about determination and not letting obstacles get in the way of your goals. Sports has always played a big part in Dagmar Jamieson's life. Even when she was diagnosed with macular degeneration and declared legally blind at 13, she continued to ski black diamond runs.
I love skiing. That was my recharge, to go to the mountains.
As the years went by, Jamieson's vision got worse and downhill skiing was no longer safe. A friend suggested she try water skiing. Her first time out, she skied with Canada's national team. She was hooked.
I was really inspired by these adaptive athletes. And I got up on my skis, on 2 skis at first, and then I dropped a ski and I said, I'm in.
When she's out on the water, Jamieson uses this helmet to communicate with her coach. It's waterproof and allows her coach to give her instructions. Later this week, Dagmar is off to Florida for training. Even though she's 65, Jamieson has a big goal in mind.
I am inspired to make the team for the 2027 Olympics. I will continue to practice and work hard.
Jamieson's also an author. She's written a couple of books about how AI and technology has helped the blind.
These are poignant stories that these individuals, personal stories about themselves, where they talk about how AI and technology have enhanced their lives.
Jamieson still hasn't given up on regaining her vision. She says there's about 40 new clinical trials that may be able to restore some of her sight or help stop the degeneration.
To be able to see, are you kidding? I can't even imagine how that would inspire my life. I could look you in the eye. I could look my son in the eye, which I haven't been able to do since he was born.
One other note in sports, Toronto Blue Jays today, big signing, come to terms with pitcher Dylan Cease, 7-year, $210 million contract, pending a physical.
Of course. Okay, Glenn, thank you for that. That's great. Danielle, we'll give you last word on the weather because it's getting a little bit colder.
Yes, colder. Temperatures will regulate for next week and get better, closer to normal. But until then, it's cold, wind chill's an issue, and snowfall's on the way once again. Now, the last round in Calgary, we got anywhere from 15 to 20 centimeters, so we won't get that much. But we'll get anywhere from 5 to 7 centimeters, so still enough that you'll have to shovel. -6 is our high for tomorrow, -10 for Friday. That's not including wind chill, and still cold for Saturday at -8. Closer to that freezing mark, though, for Sunday, and will finally be above freezing to kick off next week. Now, when you're looking at timing for snowfall, it's really in Calgary specifically. We're looking at most of it 7 p.m. to about noon. So 7 p.m. tomorrow to noon on Friday. Weather window brought to you by Lux Windows and Doors, crafting quality windows and doors for your style, budget, and Alberta's climate. And Val Moyer sent this one in just east of Cayley. And yeah, snow is not the best to drive in, but look how stunning it can be.
Makes for a very pretty prairie shot. Gorgeous. Thanks for your company tonight. We hope you have a terrific evening, and we'll see you again tomorrow.